alerts, scrutinize possible insider threats, adopt stronger login procedures, and report anything suspicious to them. JJ Green, WTOP News.
Just ahead on WTOP, a new government for Israel, 134.
Sheltering in place is not easy. All of us are getting a bit of cabin fever. But you know, it's also a good time to focus on things you've been putting off, like dealing with your ED. Look, no one should be social distancing in the bedroom, so if you're dealing with this, Metro Men's Health is your answer. Metro Men's Health can help you with our proven state-of-the-art technology and approach called focused compression wave therapy. It's revolutionary, as it actually helps rid your blood vessels of plaque and scar tissue and stimulates new stem cell growth. There's no surgery, no pain, no downtime, and no drugs. How great is that? We're currently offering video consultations so you can chat with our team from the privacy and security of your own home. So don't wait. You don't have to put this off any longer. Now is the time to fix your ED and get your confidence back. Call Metro Men's Health today at 202-902-9000. That's 202-902-9000, or learn more at metromenshealth.net. Get the intimacy you deserve naturally.
It's 1:35 on WTOP. After 3 elections, Israel finally has a new government.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu presented his new government to Parliament after 3 elections and more than a year of political deadlock. He made an alliance with his former rival Benny Gantz, who is due to take over as Prime Minister in 18 months. Netanyahu will be the first serving Israeli leader to go on trial as he faces charges of corruption. Robert Berger, CBS News, Jerusalem.
Israel's foreign ministry says the Chinese ambassador to Israel has been found dead in his home north of Tel Aviv. An Israeli police spokesman said the ambassador's death today is believed to have been from natural causes. His death comes just 2 days after he condemned comments by visiting U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Tropical storm Arthur has formed off the coast of Florida. The National Hurricane Center's Eric Blake says Arthur has gained strength with 45-mile-per-hour winds.
The tropical storm warning remains in effect for portions of the North Carolina Outer Banks from Surf City to Duck. And we expect the main effects to be over the North Carolina coast on Monday.
This is the 6th straight year a named storm has developed before the official June 1st start of the Atlantic hurricane season. Coming up after traffic and weather, a fire fatality in Maryland, 136.
We've seen breakdowns. We've seen lockouts, hazards, slowdowns, and full stops. 118 years of them and counting. So at AAA, we're speaking from experience when we say we can get through anything by navigating it together. To everyone out there keeping the world moving, we promise to help you do the same. Visit AAA.com/keepmoving to see how we're doing our part.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Donating to Melwood's Veteran Services help veterans heal from military-related trauma. Army vet Natalie Hodge found strength and renewed purpose through Melwood's week-long healing retreat called Operation Tuhidu.
I was sexually assaulted in the military and lived with the pain for years. With my experience at Operation Tuhidu, restored my confidence. I've taken back my life and I'm no longer a victim of military sexual trauma. I'm a survivor.
You can help a veteran by giving online at melwood.org or donating your used vehicle to Melwood.
The statewide primary election is here, and Marylanders must vote on or by June 2nd. Vote by mail. It's safe, free, easy, and secure. Eligible voters will receive a ballot at the address on file. It is dated April 28th, but is still valid. Ballots must be postmarked or placed in a voting drop box by 8 p.m. on June 2nd. For in-person voting locations, visit elections.maryland.gov/June2. That's elections.maryland.gov/June and the number 2.
138.
Traffic and weather on the 8s and when it breaks.
Beltway running well in Maryland through Montgomery and Prince George's County. No problems reported on 270 in the southbound direction, but northbound 270 near Shady Grove, we have the one broken down along the left side with help on scene. So stay to the right in order to get by. If you're traveling on I95, you're pretty clear. No problems on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway either way. Between the Capital Beltway and the Baltimore Beltway and Brandywine, there was northbound Route 5 near Birch Hill Road and Earnshaw Drive, where we had the reported crash. We believe that's indeed gone. No problems on Route 50 as you make make your way between the Capital Beltway and the Eastern Shore, but watch out. 150 both ways near Route 2 Ritchie Highway. It may have some temporary stoppages near the ramps. They're doing some tree removal and tree trimming there until about 6 o'clock tonight, but no evidence of seeing them at this time. Traveling across the Bay Bridge is looking pretty good, both eastbound and westbound. Things are pretty clear. Traveling in Virginia on the Beltway, the earlier problem on the outer loop between 123 and Route 7 was the lawnmower. It's been moved out of the travel lanes over to the right shoulder. Maybe somebody picked it up, not certain about that. In case I need my lawn cut. Traveling 66 remains clear. No problems on I95 or I395. In Herndon, westbound, this point, McLaren Road, ramp to southbound 28. Crash is gone, and all travel lanes have been reopened. No problems being reported to us in Woodbridge, but in Manassas, Godwin Drive, near Central Park Drive, is still under police direction for the crash scene there. Lidl Pizza Carryout is open, fast, easy, and fresh. Lidl Pizza family is ready to take your order. Lidl Pizza is square because Lidl Pizza never cuts corners. I'm Rob Stallworth, WTOP Traffic.
Clouds are hanging tough today, and we will continue to see those temperatures rise into the upper 60s and lower 70s across the board. Now, can't rule out some showers as we head through the day, but again, lots of dry time. Only about a 30% chance of showers where you are. Otherwise, we have a wet week ahead. So we'll have some showers almost each and every day this week, but plenty of dry times. Lots of clouds, though. This week, those temperatures are only stuck in the 60s and 70s. I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Lauren Ricketts.
63 degrees in Frederick, Maryland, 65 in Manassas, Virginia, and 64 in the district at 141. An investigation is underway after a huge fire and explosion last night in downtown Los Angeles.
As firefighters made their way into the burning structure,
There was a significant explosion that caused a Mayday report due to multiple firefighters potentially being injured.
investigators say the building housed a business called Smoke Toast.
It appears to be a supplier for those that make butane honey oil.
Investigators say it appears to be a legal business, while Jessica Christian, who lives nearby, says there are plenty of these marijuana oil operations in the area.
Like over there, if you even just like go by and walk by them, it's all CBD, and butane's highly volatile, so it makes sense for that to be what those explosions were.
At KCBS TV reporter Jeff Nguyen. In Maryland, near the D.C. line, a house fire has left a man dead.
Prince George's County Fire spokesperson Jennifer Donnellan says the fire started around 5:30 this morning in the basement of a home on Riggs Road near Chillum Road in Hyattsville.
There were 3 adults in the home. 2 adults had self-evacuated. A third adult, an adult male, our crews located, rescued from the home, and rushed him to the hospital. He was in critical condition at the time that he was rescued, and unfortunately and sadly, he was pronounced deceased at the hospital.
No word on whether smoke alarms were active or working at the time. Investigators are working to determine the cause of the fire. Andrea Cameron, WTOP News.
Fairfax County Police detectives are investigating last evening's discovery of a body in Fairfax Station. They say a hiker spotted the decomposed body in a wooded area near the 7500 block of Lee Chapel Road. Detectives returned to the scene this morning to continue processing evidence. So far, they do not believe this was a random act of violence, and there's no apparent threat to public safety. There will be an autopsy to determine the manner of death. An ID is pending further investigation. There was a long line at the kickoff of the farmers market season in Mount Vernon Triangle yesterday. Shoppers there can expect changes from previous years.
Folks lined up all the way down through the park and kind of back onto Massachusetts Avenue. So maybe about half a block at the beginning of the market.
Face masks were required at the Mount Vernon Triangle Market on Saturday as it opened for the season amidst the coronavirus pandemic. And if you didn't have one, you got one for free. There were long lines and more than 200 customers in total. Noni Dutton, Deputy Director of Fresh Farm Markets, says they've lowered the number of vendors from about a dozen to half a dozen and partnered with Open Table to help control how many customers show up at a time.
We didn't want folks waiting in line for 45 minutes around each other. We want to just cut down the amount of time that people have to be outdoors.
The market will be open every Saturday until at least November. Valerie Vaughn, WTOP News.
As much as I'm sure you love your parents, I'll bet that being stuck at home with them and playing board games or watching Tiger King on TV is not exactly how you envisioned the last few months of your senior year.
Dad jokes and hope. That's what Barack Obama offered in his message to 2020 high school graduates. The former president appeared on the televised Graduate Together event last night, which was hosted by LeBron James. Some of his advice: don't be afraid, build a community, and
do what you think is right. Doing what feels good, what's convenient, what's easy, that's how little kids think. Unfortunately, a lot of so-called grown-ups, including some with fancy titles and important jobs, still think that way, which is why things are so screwed up. I hope that instead you decide to ground yourself in values that last.
President Obama also reminded students to think not just about themselves, but about each other as the country navigates the post-pandemic world. Catholic University held a virtual graduation ceremony yesterday. Here's student speaker Brendan Dillon.
It was this community that pushed me to find my professional niche, which is why I'm so confident that our class will be so successful in the professional world during these uncertain times, whether it's at Balfour Beatty, the Department of Justice, Merrill Lynch, Children's Hospital, or everywhere in between.
Congrats to all the grads. It's 1:45.
Sports at 15 and 45. Brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Don't settle for less than a Honda.
Here's Jay Brooks.
Live NASCAR and golf today. First to the links this afternoon. Rory McIlroy and Dustin Johnson will take on Ricky Fowler and Matthew Wolff in the 2020 TaylorMade Driving Relief Skins game, with all money in the event going to charity. Elsewhere, NASCAR returns after a 70-day hiatus as the Real Heroes 400 takes place at Darlington Raceway. Pole sitter Brad Keselowski, who spoke to Mike Tirico, who actually is one of the 6 announcers for the golf event I just spoke on, about racing at Darlington.
Tough track, and of course, if you're from South Carolina, you probably already know this, but there's hot and there's South Carolina hot. I don't know what they do in South Carolina to make it so hot, but that is the hottest place I've ever been in my life. So between the toll of the racetrack being so challenging and the heat, it's going to be a tough race.
By the way, at 3:50 between the Capital Beltway and the Eastern Shore. Cox Business is the trusted expert for all things business technology, with flexible solutions to help you run your business the way that works for you. Learn more at coxbusiness.com. I'm Rob Stallworth, WTOP Traffic.
Temperatures today a lot cooler than yesterday. We're going to
भाई मैं कोरोना वायरस से बचने के लिए सैनिटाइजर लगा रहा हूँ।
अच्छी एहतियात है, लेकिन इसके साथ दुआओं का एहतिमाम बहुत जरूरी है।
भाईजान कौन सी दुआएं?
ऐसा करते हैं, वालिद मोहतरम साहब के पास चलते हैं।
अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। मेरे बच्चों, बाबा जी कोरोना वायरस के हवाले से कुछ दुआएं बता दीजिए।
जी मेरे बच्चों, 3 मरतबा अलहम्द शरीफ, 3 मरतबा सूरह इखलास और 313 मरतबा सुबह शाम
easy, good ride inside and outside the Capital Beltway. Nothing complicated to talk about for you. Dulles Toll Road, Dulles Greenway, you're in good shape between Tysons and Leesburg. If you're driving in the district, no reported issues for you on the Southeast Southwest Freeway, driving between the Potomac River and the Anacostia River, the 11th Street Bridge, and the 14th Street Bridge. Good on 295 northbound, southbound between Oxon Hill and Eastern Avenue. No reported issues for you. Back into Maryland, they're now looking for one stalled in the roadway 270 northbound. On the ramps Route 85 Buckystown. Sounds like a trailer has a couple of blown out tires. It's partially blocking the exit ramp. We're brought to you by Window Nation. Need new windows? Window Nation will defer payments for 2 years. Get 2 windows with every 2 purchased. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. I'm Joe Conway, WTOP Traffic.
It is going to be a cloudy and cool week ahead. Today we've got those temperatures rising into the upper 60s and lower 70s. We've got a lot of clouds around. We even have a chance of a spotty shower or two as we continue through the day. But most of the day going to be dry. Plenty of time to get outside. And a lot of this week's going to be dry. We're going to have chances of rain here and there. Occasional showers possible just about any time during the next 6 days, today included, all the way up till next Friday. But again, there's going to be lots of dry times. Temperatures this week are going to be stuck in the 60s and low 70s. I think even Tuesday, Wednesday, those temperatures could be in the upper 50s in some spots. Tuesday, Wednesday will also be breezy. The reason why, a system to the west of us is in a holding pattern, not going anywhere. It's just going to meander to the west of us all week. I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Lauren Ricketts.
66 degrees at Seven Corners, 65 in Langley Park, 66 in Fort Belvoir, and it's 64 degrees in the nation's capital at 3:30.
Richmond to Baltimore, from the Chesapeake to the Shenandoah, this is WTOP, Washington's top news, on air and online at WTOP.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Sandy Kozel. Alicia Abelson is at the editor's desk. Coming up, the president praises his administration's response to the coronavirus pandemic as his top advisors push to reopen the economy. President Trump may still decide to contribute to the World Health Organization, but at a reduced rate.
Investigators are looking into a house fire in Maryland where one man has died. I'm Andrea Cameron.
WTOP News Time, 3:31.
CBS News Update. As stores, restaurants, and even beaches open up in many states around the nation, President Trump put on a positive face this afternoon on how his administration has been handling COVID-19.
Tremendous progress is being made on many fronts, including coming up with a cure for this horrible plague that has beset our country.
Former Trump economic advisor Gary Cohn says it will take the nation's economy a while to improve, but tells CBS has faced the nation.
We created this economic situation. We can unwind this much more quickly than some of the comparisons that we're making in time, where there were situations where our unemployment data happened over a long period of time because of declining employment, declining sales.
Experts warn people need to continue taking precautions against COVID-19 as most states have now backed down from strict lockdowns to fight the illness. CBS News Update. I'm Allison Keyes.
It's 3:32. Democrats on Capitol Hill are demanding the White House hand over all records related to President Trump's latest firing of a federal watchdog, this time at the State Department. We're blaming Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and question whether the firing was done legally. The president announced the firing of State Department Inspector General Steve Linick Friday night, saying only he lost confidence in him. But it's since been learned that Linick had recently opened an investigation into Pompeo. Democrats are leaning on Republicans to help advance the just-passed $3 trillion coronavirus relief package in the House. The measures include aid to local and state governments. CBS has faced the nation. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says providing for first responders, from police and firefighters to emergency workers and teachers, is essential to forging a path forward.
Republican and Democratic mayors, governors, and the rest all want this bill to happen in terms of the investments in state, local, and tribal and territorial governments, and also in terms of the testing to be done across the country.
Pelosi says she refuses to believe the plan is dead on arrival. Here are the latest coronavirus case numbers. Virginia added 700 cases this morning over the past 24 hours and 7 deaths. D.C. added 81 new cases of the virus and 8 more deaths. Maryland has added 836 cases and an additional 34 deaths due to the virus. For information, including the number of people who've recovered, Head to WTOP.com and search coronavirus. Nursing homes have until midnight tonight to report the number of coronavirus infections and deaths to the federal government. The order was issued so health officials can assess the damage the pandemic has inflicted on sick and elderly residents and their caregivers. More than 15,000 nursing homes around the country. Just ahead, will the president send money to the World Health Organization? It's 3:34.
You know, if you were thinking about selling your home, I think it's important to listen to what Jennifer Young has to say. This is Dave Johnson. I went to Jennifer Young Homes' Facebook page, and there's even tips there for meal planning. But about selling a home right now,
there's a thought process that the market may be slow because of what's going on, when in fact it's actually really strong because of low supply and high demand. We still have a shortage of affordable housing, believe it or not, and with interest rates being at a 60-year low, there's still a strong demand for buyers.
Yes, those interest rates are a good time for buyers too. So if you're thinking of selling your home or buying a home, I recommend reaching out to Jennifer Young. And Jennifer is adapting. There are virtual listing appointments, virtual showings, virtual open houses, remote closings where buyers and sellers can close at home and not have to come into an office. And Jennifer of Jennifer Young Homes, Keller Williams Realty guarantees to sell your home at price and deadline you agree to, or she'll buy it. So go ahead, call Jennifer at 877-611-SELL. That's 877-611-SELL, or online at JenniferYoungHomes.com. That's JenniferYoungHomes.com.
It is 3:35. President Trump says the U.S. might restore at least some of the funding to the World Health Organization. The president froze contributions over what he said was the WHO's mismanagement of the coronavirus response. But he's now considering a move to begin funding the organization on par to what China has been contributing. That would still be 90% less than what the U.S. was spending before. The president made the claim while tweeting at Fox Business host Lou Dobbs, who had been complaining about the move on TV. In recent months, China has announced an additional $50 million to the World Health Organization. After 3 elections, Israel finally has a new government.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu presented his new government to Parliament after 3 elections and more than a year of political deadlock. He made an alliance with his former rival Benny Gantz, who is due to take over as prime minister in 18 months. Netanyahu will be the first serving Israeli leader to go on trial as he faces charges of corruption. Robert Berger, CBS News, Jerusalem.
Israel's foreign ministry says the Chinese ambassador to Israel has been found dead in his home north of Tel Aviv. An Israeli police spokesman says the ambassador's death today is believed to be from natural causes. His death comes just 2 days after he condemned comments by visiting U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Traffic and weather next, 3:36.
Welcome to the Asbury Minute, brought to you by Asbury Methodist Village, Montgomery County's leading senior living community. The topic today, Asbury Strong. The value of community has never been more evident. We're a resilient bunch and a source of support, inspiration, and friendship. We're resolved to maintaining a healthy and safe environment. Together, our residents and associates are working within the strict boundaries of physical distancing to remain in touch and engaged. The entire Asbury team is focused on helping to brighten residents' lives and ensure our community's safety during these challenging times. We ask you to help your older neighbors, walk their dogs, pick them up some groceries. We're all in this together. Things will eventually get better. Through it all, we will always be Asbury Strong. This has been the Asbury Minute. Learn more about Asbury Methodist Village and how we value community. Visit us at asburymethodistvillage.org, an equal opportunity housing provider.
I'm WTOP reporter Kate Ryan. Acts of kindness really are all around us. And to the strangers who remind us that we're all neighbors, thank you. From your friends at WTOP News, we're all in this together.
It's 3:38.
Traffic and weather on the 8s and when it breaks.
We'll start off in the district. They're having trouble locating a crash, apparently, from what we're hearing on the scanners, but we believe it is actually on 395 northbound near the exit for 7th Street Southwest. And the scanner on the scene sounds like you're getting by, staying to the right with the left lane blocked, waiting for response to roll up, and the difficulty sounds like it's going to be a while getting there. In Northwest Washington, the crash was reported on New Jersey Avenue, north of New York Avenue, near N Street. N is in Nancy. And at last report, police were heading to the scene to check that one out. Driving in Maryland, there were reported issues on the Capital Beltway good on 270 mostly, except for one problem with 270 northbound on the ramp to 85, the Buckystown Pike. Report of a broken down vehicle partially crowding the exit ramp from what we were told. Earlier wreck on New Hampshire Avenue was northbound near the Capital Beltway. That's been cleared. In Howard County, wreck was on Dobbin Road near 175. That puts it just west of the Snowden River Parkway. Police fire rescue all going to check out that one. On the trip through Virginia, no reported issues on the Capital Beltway. 95 and 395 moving well northbound and southbound. Easy pass lanes run north. 66 a quiet ride outside the Beltway. Had an earlier crash in Fairfax City on 236 eastbound after Roberts Road. That should be wrapped up as well. We're brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. These are challenging times, and Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans is prepared to help. Need mortgage assistance? Contact their team 24/7 at rocketmortgage.com. From their home to yours, the team at Rocket Mortgage says they are with you. I'm Joe Conwood, WTOP Traffic.
Temperatures today a lot cooler than yesterday. We're going to be right around 70 degrees one side or the other. Now, we're going to have plenty of dry time. Lots of clouds. There could be a peak or two of sunshine this afternoon. We're also going to have a small chance of a passing shower or so. Unfortunately, we do have some showers as we continue through this work week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Each day will feature some occasional rain. It will be raining all day, every day. Temperatures this week are stuck in the 60s and 70s. I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Lauren Ricketts.
65 degrees in Reston, at 64 in Leisure World, and 65 in Bellhaven at 340. Man is dead after a fire rips through a home in Maryland near the D.C. line.
Prince George's County Fire spokesperson Jennifer Donnellan says the fire started around 5:30 this morning in the basement of a home on Riggs Road near Chilham Road in Hyattsville.
There were 3 adults in the home. 2 adults had self-evacuated. A third adult, an adult male, our crews located, rescued from the home, and rushed him to the hospital. He was in critical condition at the time that he was rescued, and unfortunately and sadly, he was pronounced deceased at the hospital.
No word on whether smoke alarms were active or working at the time. Investigators are working to determine the cause of the fire. Andrea Cameron, WTOP News.
Fairfax County Police detectives are investigating last evening's discovery of a body in Fairfax Station. They say a hiker spotted the decomposed body in a wooded area near the 7500 block of Lee Chapel Road. Detectives returned to the scene this morning to continue processing evidence. So far, they do not believe this was a random act of violence, and there's no apparent threat to public safety. There will be an autopsy to determine the manner of death. An ID is pending further investigation. A woman who is thought to be Maryland's oldest resident has died. The Baltimore Sun reports Downing Kay passed away at the age of 112 on Friday. She once said mixing the juice from half a lemon with some hot water every day helped her live so long, but she stopped doing that when she turned 100, saying she figured she'd live long enough. D.C. roads could look a little different in the coming weeks, with the D.C. Council considering an amendment to make room to promote social distancing.
In a letter to D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, council members Mary Che, Charles Allen, and Brianne Nadeau are calling for the immediate closure or narrowing of several public roads to provide pedestrians and cyclists with additional sidewalk and bike lane space during the pandemic. The council will review an amendment to the coronavirus.
Let's go forward in a bipartisan way to have a plan to test. We have no idea the size of this challenge.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo got tested for coronavirus on live TV as he announced that all people in the state experiencing flu-like symptoms are now eligible for tests. CBS News Update. I'm Sam Litzinger.
It is 4:32. Democrats on Capitol Hill are demanding the White House hand over all records related to President Trump's latest firing of a federal watchdog, this time at the State Department. They're blaming Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and question whether the firing was done legally. The president announced the firing of State Department Inspector General Steve Linick on Friday night, saying only that he'd lost confidence in him. But we since learned Linick had recently opened an investigation into Pompeo. Democrats are leaning on Republicans to help advance the just passed $3 trillion coronavirus relief package in the House. There is concern it will die in the Senate, but on CBS's Face the Nation, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she refuses to believe that's going to be the case.
No bill that is proffered will become law without negotiation.
The bill includes aid to local and state governments. We have new coronavirus case numbers coming out of Virginia today. The Commonwealth added 700 cases over the past 24 hours. The state also adding 7 deaths. D.C. added 81 new cases of the virus and 8 more deaths. Maryland has 836 more cases of the illness over the last 24 hours, bringing the state's total to just shy of 39,000. Maryland also saw 34 more people die from the virus. For more information, including the number of people who've recovered, head to WTOP.com and search coronavirus. Nursing homes have been directed to report the number of coronavirus infections and deaths to the federal government by midnight tonight. Washington Post reporting that federal officials will collect the data weekly and publish it online along with the names of nursing homes by the end of the month. The data will offer a first look at the impact in states like Virginia that have declined to identify nursing homes with COVID-19 infections. The Kaiser Family Foundation estimates that nursing homes and other assisted living facilities account for more than 40% of COVID-19 deaths in the U.S. Caught red-handed hackers linked to the Chinese government have been busted trying to steal COVID-19 vaccine research from the U.S.
The Joint Federal Bulletin is urgently warning healthcare and research organizations to lock down their networks and keep a close eye on employees exhibiting unusual behavior. The FBI and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency say they've detected and are investigating the targeting and, most importantly, the compromise of U.S. organizations conducting COVID-19 related research. That research includes vaccines, treatments, and testing from networks and personnel affiliated with that research. These organizations are being instructed to patch their vulnerabilities and institute multi-factor authentication immediately. J.J. Green, WTOP News.
Just ahead on WTOP, a new unity government is sworn in Israel. It's 4:35.
I know I'm stating the obvious when I say things are different than last summer. This is Dave Johnson. I mentioned last summer for a reason, because that's when Jennifer Young sold my home in 2 days. There were 4 offers. Okay, that was then, but even now, as Jennifer shared with me,
we are still getting multiple offers on many of our properties. We just put a property on in Fairfax that was a townhome that was priced well, marketed really well. We had in-person and virtual showings. We got multiple offers after just a few days on the market. Fantastic terms for our seller. Same thing happened in Reston on a townhome. Multiple offers, crazy escalations, really good terms for our sellers.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Like when Jennifer Young sold my home and I found out Jennifer's marketing really makes a difference. And again, with record low interest rates, there's a reason to sell, a reason to buy right now. And don't forget the guarantee. Jennifer of Jennifer Young Homes, Keller Williams Realty, guarantees to sell your home at price and deadline you agree to, or she'll buy it. Go ahead, reach out to Jennifer at 877-611-SELL. That's 877-611-SELL. Or online at jenniferyounghomes.com.
It is 4:36. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu